sewing studio where I turn my fashion ideas into reality. I've been sick for the past couple of weeks. It started out as a regular flu, and by the end of it, it sort of affected my eyes, so my vision was no good. And worst of all, I could not do my favorite hobby, which is sewing. I'm glad I'm out of the woods now, and I came right back to my hobby and I made another dress. Initially, this dress was supposed to look completely different than what it actually turned out to be. This was the fabric that I was thinking of using initially. It's pretty loud, it's got a lot of patterns going on, and I was going to combine it with this red lace. As I began working on the project, when I started combining the skirt and the top pieces, I realized that it didn't look the best together as it did on my sketch. So I found a different fabric that worked so well, and I'm very happy with the results. I think it was a beautiful mistake and it turned out for the best.
Here's the design I started out with. First, I had to establish the chest pieces, and to do that, I put an elastic band around my natural waist to determine my style lines. I am using a piece of muslin to manipulate the pattern on myself to get the fit right before proceeding. I am not using my mannequin for this dress because I'm small-chested and I need these chest pieces to fit like a glove for the best results. I've drawn out my pieces, and now I will draft it on paper and move my darts down as opposed to them coming out of the armpit. I am using the slash and spread pattern technique where I move all of my darts down so that I end up with the big long dart that will start at the waist and outline my natural chest elegantly. I do a quick comparison to my muslin piece in the end to make sure I am close to my goal. I am going to cut the newly refined pattern into my muslin again, stitch it together, and do a fitting of the top once more before proceeding with my good fabric. After stitching the muslin together and ironing it out, I will attach it onto a thicker waistband. I think thicker waistbands look good in a similar design, and it will accentuate my waist better. My bend ended up being 1.5 inches wide. I'm pinning the chest pieces to the waistband, and I will fit this top on myself to ensure I'm headed in the right direction. After trying it on, I like the fit, nothing is exposed, and I think it looks flattering. Now I can confidently make my top again, but this time using a beige cotton I got. It is the closest color I could find to my skin tone. Pay attention to how I am transferring my dart lines, and make sure that the points are marked down on your pieces so that both darts will be symmetrical once sewn. I will be putting my red lace over top of this cotton to imitate lace on skin. Once the lace is cut out, I will sandwich it between my two cotton pieces and sew the darts first, after which I will connect the chest pieces everywhere except the waistline so that I can turn my sandwich inside out and iron it out, giving it a nice finish. When working with woven fabrics, you want to pin your pieces together before sewing, and you will need to be extra careful cutting out your pieces evenly to avoid pulling or crooked lines. Ironing woven fabrics is also crucial, for it will help you along, as well as make the garment fit and feel more professional. Don't skip this part, and don't forget to iron out all of your connecting seams. I will give the top another fitting. It's always best to double and triple check your work every step of the way. Once my chest pieces are complete, I will make another waistband, this time from the same material as my skirt. The skirt material is lightweight, so in order for me to make it heavier, I will apply fusible to the waistband, thus making it heavier and more resilient. Fusible is often used for this reason, as well as to add structure to the garment. I picked up medium weight fusible and ironed it onto my waistband piece. I ended up using a different fabric for the skirt than the one I originally had in mind for this project because it looked better with the top I had made. I like this fabric. It's very feminine and beautiful. It's featuring some cherry blossoms, and this dress will end up looking like a modernized kimono in the end. I will link the fabric store in the description. I love fabric from Showtime Spandex, who have been sponsoring my small channel and supporting me, so big shout out to them. My waistband is finished, so I'm going to fold it in half and iron it once again. This is all part of the prep. Now we will have to do some math. I am so sorry. I determined that I need 5 panels for my skirt, starting at the natural waist and flaring out towards the floor. The skirt will be floor length. I decided on 5 panels so that the middle one will sit nicely in the middle of the waist, as I hate having a seam going down the middle of my waist. I just don't think it looks flattering when it comes to dresses. So simple math, I have 80 inches of length. Therefore, I divide 80 by 5 panels, each panel being 16 inches at its widest part. I am going to do the same math for my waist. My waist measures 28 inches. I divide that by 5 panels and I get 5.68 of an inch for each panel at the most narrow part. The length of each panel is 44 inches, but I cut it at 45 just in case. It never hurts to have extra material rather than not enough. Since this fabric is so silky, I have to be very careful not to shift it while cutting because that can screw up the whole skirt. I am using regular chalk to draw out each panel. I hope that you can see the chalk marks before I cut my panels. And here's what the cut panels look like. As you can see, once connected, it will make a beautiful skirt. Now, before I stitch the panels together, I am going to do some prep work for each panel. I'm going to put some fusible on top as well as the bottom. The added weight will make it easier to sew the ready skirt with its waistband, and the bottom fusible will create some weight so that the skirt isn't too slinky when I wear it. Some people put rope or wire in the bottom hem for this purpose. I went with fusible because the silk is just so delicate. Make sure to iron the fusible on well. Take a look at the wrong side now. You can see where the fusible was applied. Now that this prep work was done for all 5 panels, we can finally stitch the panels together and serge the seams as well to avoid fraying. Please be patient and slow when working with silky fabric. I'm kind of glad that I was a bit sick because it slowed me down and my natural hyperactive ways, and I was able to make this pretty neat and even. And here's what it looks like all sewn together. At this point, I can attach the waistband. But I made a mistake along the way. My 5 panels did not, in fact, meet at my hips, and I had to add an extra tiny panel at the back to give myself more room. When mistakes happen, it is important to fix them in such a way that a stranger would never tell that a mistake was made in the first place. The waistband is on. I am trying on my skirt again, and I will have to trim away the excess panels as I left them bigger on purpose to trim away in the end and make sure that this time half of my butt won't be sticking out. Needless to say, you don't get to see that footage. I'm carefully trimming off the excess and I'm ready to insert my invisible zipper. It's always a struggle for me, but I will be a patient little angel and I'm sure it will work out all right. I will connect my back seam of the skirt using a wider stitch. Once we get past about 9 inches, we will switch back to a smaller stitch size and stitch all the way down. I am pinning my zipper from the inside, after which I can slash the baste stitching and stitch my zipper using a zipper foot. The zipper foot isn't the most comfortable on the domestic machines, but I will try to manage. Upon trying the zipper out, it looks okay and it's doing its job well. Almost at the end of my journey, guys. My final boss is the hem. I tried the skirt on with my heels and pinned accordingly. I'm pinning more at the back and less at the front since the back droops down a little bit, thus needing to be slightly shorter than the front when hemming. Once pinned, I will once again iron the hem before sewing and then proceed to finish my hem. Last but not least, I must pin my chest pieces onto the ready skirt I just made. Once I've pinned them down, I can stitch them onto the waistband, and all I'm left with now are some hook and eyes that I will attach by hand at the back for my halter style closure. I decided to scatter a few red Swarovski crystals I had lying around. I think it looks beautiful with a bit of sparkle.
Alright, we've reached the end of the video, so let me show you guys the final results.